Thank you, IDB, thank you, WAPES, and thank you, Peru, for having me. I'm Niels Tannesi, for the... Is this my pointer? I work for the Flemish Public Employment Service. So we're a part of Belgium. We speak Dutch. We have 6.5 million inhabitants, and we're a very, very small country. I will tell you something about what we do with employers by using some posters we used in a recent campaign. For instance, you can see that we had, in 2016, we had 1,350,000 vacancies that we received from employers, and 226,000 directly reported to VDAB. It's not mandatory in Flanders to report the vacancies to us. And you see there's a difference between the first number and the second number. You can explain that, I will explain this later, because we use open services. I have a little video, I will talk about open services later on. And as every country has a gap between supply and demand, we also do, and we believe in competence-oriented matching, in competence-based matching, because we believe that employers who are looking for their employees have a much larger group of candidates when they look at competences. We know that employees can recycle competences when they move on to another job, when they can move on to another sector. So we believe in competence-based matching. There's a small movie, and I don't want to show the whole of it because I'm running out of time then, but this tells how we deal with open services and work together with employers.
Working on employment? Can you manage that on your own, or do you collaborate with other partners on the labor market? The VDAB answer is clear. We're stronger together.
VDAB plays the role of a labor market manager and, being part of an open government, wants to collaborate with all possible partners. VDAB offers a number of open services allowing all players on the job market to use their own open data effectively.
At the moment, 8 open services are available, and they are intensively used by several companies in the recruitment industry. This open services platform, which is seen by other European public mediation services as a true example of labor market innovation, is today available to any interested party. The added value of the VDAB open services lies not only in the supplied data, but especially in the easy integration of the open services in the software of the company and the reuse of the functionalities that VDAB developed, and the authentic and high-quality data. The only development the partner still has to do is to embed these services in their own software. This way, they don't need to use any external system, and they can develop a completely new service. In other words, these innovative services allow the partner to innovate even further. How does this work in practice?
A vacancy created by a Randstad consultant is enriched with competences. To add to these competences, we call on a VDAB service. This makes it possible for VDAB to match resumes to all available vacancies within the VDAB database. Convert uses the VDAB online assistant service to check the quality of its vacancies. This OLA service does a content check and gives advice during the creation of the vacancy.
In March 2014, VDAB started the next phase of the project. Together with partners from the pilot project, VDAB examined how each partner could show the possible candidates automatically from the VDAB database, each in their own vacancy system. By offering access to the VDAB matching service, a bigger pool of candidates are made available to the employment agencies in a much simpler way.
VDAB offers the internal matching functionality of vacancies and resumes through a VDAB service. Adecco implements the service. This way, the Adecco consultant can continue working in the Adecco system and provides a higher quality offer to the job seeker. We want to show that a public-private partnership is a positive story. As a consequence of this collaboration, a job seeker will more quickly find a new job that matches his or her competences.
By offering these datasets and VDAB's open services to businesses and external partners, we create new ways to approach different audiences in a better and more targeted way. Datasets with metadata were provided to participants of the Job Advisor Student Competition through the API of the Data Tank. That's the open data platform that VDAB uses. These datasets contain vacancy data, VDAB trainings and locations.
As students of the Erasmus University College Brussels, we started this project as part of our training. Job or Not is a simple, elegant app to discover personalized vacancies. The app shows a vacancy which you can refuse or save. Job or Not will get to know you better with every choice you make. That way, the app is able to present the most suitable vacancies.
Meanwhile, more than 10 companies are actively using these unique services, and many other companies are preparing their applications. Only by collaborating with these partners can we face the challenges that await us, because we are stronger together.
Another poster I wanted to show you is, and that's the next slide, is offer experience. The slide will follow. We know that it's hard for employers to work with classic employee contracts, especially when people don't have the right skills or the right diploma. So we have our own competence centers, and last year we had 60,000 job seekers that we reached through our competence centers, and during those trainings, during vocational trainings and at the end of the trainings, we try to reach employers just to give internships to the people following courses in our competence centers. So we try to convince employers to offer experience. That's one of the keys to win. Okay. Next slide, please. And that's the last poster I wanted to show to you, is the best colleagues are trained or educated by yourself. That's a very clear message we have for employers. Last year we had almost 50,000 workplace learning activities. So we have contracts with companies, with corporations, so people can learn their job on the workplace. It's a collective of all learning activities on the work floor. When we look at it, last year we have about a database with 200,000 of companies in it, and 7% of those companies did use a certain form of workplace learning activity in the last year. And to promote this, because I heard a story yesterday that it's not easy to reach the smaller companies, and what we did for Existence, and that was something Susanna talked about as well. We have 5,000 employees. You have to promote these things. So last year and the year before, we went out together, the 5,000 people of us, and we went to visit. We went out there in the streets and we went there to visit, to convince that there are certain formulas that you can form or train people on the work floor yourself. So that's what we do right now, but it's a sample of what we do. That's some things that I want to put emphasis on. But can I have the next slide, please? But we live in the VUCA world. The world is changing very fastly. It's very volatile. It's very uncertain. You can have the best and the most performant labor information mechanisms, but if something happens at the other side of the world today, we feel the consequences of it tomorrow. So you have to be ready to change. It's very complex. There is robotization, there is globalization, and so on. And it's very ambiguous. Scientists, based on the same facts, have different, opposite conclusions about what we have to do. Is robotization creating jobs, or is it taking away some jobs? So if you want to stay relevant as a public employment service, you have to think about the future. And therefore, we have 6 strategic principles. Next slide, please. And we work together with universities and business schools. We don't want to have our own university. That's not our goal. We want to collaborate with universities. And there is a program on business model innovation that I'm leading at VDAB. And the professor working with me together talks about a few realities and about capabilities. And the first thing is, and when we are talking about demand-driven services, is the services as a public employment service are not always perceived as very sexy or very good. When you create services, they only have value when they're valuable to the employers. So you have to be capable of designing services that have a value. You can talk about competence-based matching, but if the competence-based matching is too difficult, no one will use it. So it has to be user-friendly. Work together with employers to work it out. 2, experiment is necessary. There is a lot of technologies out there. There is no one who can bring us ready-to-use solutions. So we set up a lab, and we do some proofs of concepts and some proof of technologies, and we work together to work things out. And it's okay to fail, but you have to be ready to experiment with data analytics, to make models, predictive models and so on. Please do experiment with it. And the third, but not the least, is collaboration. It's a strategy. Build up, it's about platform thinking. Build up a platform where you can work together with your ecosystem, with your employers and other parties on the labor markets. Now I'm going to the 6 principles. I don't know how many minutes I've left. 5 minutes? Okay, so I have 1 minute per principle. First, we believe in digital first, not digital support. We have e-coaches, we have online coaches, we have websites and so on, but digital has to be first. It has to be digital friendly. We are omni-channel, we are multi-channel, but work with data. You have data about your clients, you have data about their behavior, online behavior. You know what vacancies employees or job seekers click on, and please, we are working out some predictive models. We can say, now this job seeker is going to stay unemployed for such a long time unless he does this or this or this. And the same algorithm we can use for employers, and we are setting it up right now to predict how an employer can fill in his vacancy more quickly. Digital first. Next slide, please. We believe in an ecosystem strategy. What you see here is something we don't do ourselves. It's an example of a spin-off of a Brussels university, and you have competence-based matching, but what they believe in is a value-based matching. We did some customer journeys with youngsters, and youngsters want to work for a company with the same values as they have. And this system is a system that VDAB didn't invent. It was a university that came to us. And they said, we can see if there's a fit between the values of a job seeker and the value of the company. If there's a fit between the value of the job seeker and the value of his direct manager. So this is not something that we deliver ourselves, but we deliver it, we put it in the market for them. When we have contacts with our companies, we can tell that this system exists. And there are people who don't believe in it, but it's fine with us. Another thing is, you can offer vacancies, but that's only one service. When people enter the labor market, their career is a service journey. It's a whole trip that they make. And we want to make people stronger during the whole trip. So what we did in here, what you see in here, is an app we made. It's an app invented by youngsters, and they worked for us. And they said, when I'm at university, I need a trusted advisor who can tell me about how it's to work in this sector. What is the best junior function to become a senior? Which are the best companies? So please bring me in contact with people who can tell me about this sector. What we do as a public employment sector is not giving the information ourselves. We are a labor market conductor, and we match enterprises and the job seekers. And it's like a Tinder-wise app where you can find a mentor leading you and guiding you into the labor market. That's another perspective. When you talk about labor market services, what we do want, there is an evolution on the labor market, but there is an evolution in the expectations of labor market consumers as well. You have to understand what their needs are, and therefore we have, of course, we have some partnership management at VDAB, but what we are starting to do now is to set up, to involve employers in our service design. And so we start with customer journeys. We bring employers together, and we do the ideation together, and we develop new services together with them. We ask their feedback. They test our beta versions because before we put it in the market and so on. And then you have your customers, labor market customers, aboard from have to want to. We don't believe in mandatory vacancies. From industrial making to agile making, a public employment service is not a production plant. If we make a service, we don't know where we will end. When you talk about agile, most people think of IT, but there is a lot of good things in the agile thinking of IT. This is about business IT alignment. This is about co-creation. This is about setting up cross-functional teams where you have people with the skills to understand employers. In the same teams are IT architects, in the same teams are service designers. So you need to set up cross-functional teams to develop services for your employers. And you have to be capable of working together with the employers, and that's my last slide, and then I'm finishing. We started up a lab. We started up experiments, and then we talked about it in the whole country. So we did some boot camps with colleagues who were into innovation and who wanted to create services with the employers themselves. We did some large-scale interventions. We did some hackathons where we worked together with employers. But then you learn to understand what they want, what their needs are, and that's how you become stronger together with your employers. Thank you.